Hey, what's up everyone? It's me, Dev, and I just wanted to make a little video talking about the Tempest Shotgun. This will be the first video.
If you own a Tempest Shotgun and you're not using the new deVolution active reload semi-automatic firing technique, then you don't deserve to find your way. Sign up today to turn this, hells, this is taking forever, into this. Hoo-yah, now that's more like it. Just one training session at the Wayfinder bootcamp and we'll have you making mincemeat out of monsters by the morning.
As I was saying, this is going to be the first in a series of videos talking about the more advanced techniques for some of the weapons in Wayfinder. Today we're talking about the Tempest, and I want to preface this with two things. Number one, this technique does take a little bit of skill, timing, rhythm and concentration. And number two, I have been seeing a few different techniques cropping up now that could possibly be considered unintended, like bunny hopping, the momentum building meta, the repeating shield slam, the double overhand smash, etc. And I really hope that a lot like the air dash, Airship embraces these instead of fixes them, as I do think having these kinds of things really adds a nice skill ceiling and mechanical progression to the game, where you can actually get better at the mechanics of using the weapon to its fullest potential. With that out of the way, the rapid fire shotgun technique itself is pretty straightforward, but first we need to cover the basics of the shotgun for it to actually make sense. The Tempest Shotgun is a close-ranged projectile weapon. Much like other firearms, it has infinite ammo and it needs to be reloaded after 6 shots. You can choose to reload at any time just by pressing the R button. While reloading, you'll see a quick mini-game in which you'll need to press R again within the white bar. If you're successful, you'll receive a short boost of power and 2 times boost of firing speed. If you miss the white bar, however, you'll get an even longer reload time than normal. So, if you think you're going to miss the white bar, you're better off waiting for the animation to finish, then the gun will reload automatically and it'll be quicker than if you were to miss the bar. Shotguns also partially ignore damage reduction from armored enemies. Now, while you may think a shotgun is good for groups of enemies, it's not. If you don't aim down the sights, the slugs veer wildly and you end up either doing a small amount of damage to a number of enemies or just missing entirely. Not only that, but as you deal extra damage if all slugs hit, you're actually incentivized to aim down sights and hit single targets as often as possible. Using the shotgun with Wingrave, I've spec'd mainly into weapon damage, but I also have a pretty decent amount of crit power, crit rating and break power, and because it's Wingrave, I also have a chunky amount of physical and magical defense to allow me to just stand my ground and fire away. I guarantee there are better builds for the Tempest Shotgun. This is just my current leveling build while I find all the perfect echoes. If you have a better build idea, please share it in the comments. I'm also using 2 rush echoes. I would say the Commander Creed echo is almost a must for the Tempest, as every 20 seconds when you hit a vital spot, it does a large blast of damage to surrounding enemies equal to 125% of your weapon power. I also have the Bloodspawn echo, which every 30 seconds when you do a jump heavy slam, it creates an area of physical damage to surrounding enemies equal to 150% of your weapon power, and it reduces their movement speed by 50%. This really helps when getting overwhelmed by smaller enemies that are either harder to hit with your shotgun or not important enough to focus on. Another important factor for the Tempest Shotgun is the mastery. If you're using the semi-auto technique, then the Guardian reload is useless, as we'll never have an empty clip. Marksman Brawler is nice, but it's just a flat damage boost which we can get from echoes, etc. The one you want is Iron Eagle. This increases the break damage of Eagle Eye by an additional % of your break power, all the way up to 120%. So with that perk, whenever I hit a vital point, instead of 2239 break damage, I effectively almost have 5000 break damage, and this makes it an absolute boss killer. The ability for the shotgun is called Bullet Storm, and it is extremely simple but effective. Every time you hit a vital point, you get a charge up to a max of 3. Pressing Q will use up all charges and fire 2 rapid shots per charge. These are exactly the same as your normal shots, so with 3 charges, you fire off 6 shots extremely fast, and this can drop even a high tier monster in seconds. The heavy attack is an elbow, which is really good for smashing things and reducing the break meter of tricky enemies, and the jumping heavy attack shoots the shotgun into the ground for a small AoE attack. As I'm using the shotgun with Wingrave, using my Q increases my weapon power by 10% each ability level, so that increases the damage of those rapid fire shots even further. I like using the Tempest with Wingrave as he's got great sustain and self-heal to be able to just keep plowing through the enemies, and his ultimate really comes in clutch in those difficult boss fights, but his Radiant Pulse ability works perfectly well to help hold back smaller enemies while you focus on dealing with the dangerous mobs. The basic technique with the shotgun is to aim down sights, blast the big creatures as much as possible, build up the charges and reduce their shield by hitting the vital points, and once the guard is broken, unleash the damage. Now for the rapid fire technique. So, if you've used the Tempest, you'll know the normal rate of fire for 6 rounds is like this. You may also know that you get a slight fire rate boost when you active reload, but that only lasts for 1 extra shot being faster. semi-automatic technique takes advantage of the fact that you can begin to reload immediately after firing. Then, if you catch the reload bar right at the beginning, you can fire and then immediately reload, rinse and repeat. A couple of things to note if you weren't already aware. After pressing R to reload, you can complete the reload either by pressing R again or by pressing the left mouse button. So the button sequence for the semi-auto active reload looks like this. Quickly tap left mouse button, R, wait, left mouse button, R, wait, and repeat. For the first shot of the clip, as you're not finishing a reload, you don't need to double click the left mouse button, you just left mouse button R, then wait. As you may notice, reloading and firing this fast is too quick for the reload UI. So, while it may not show that I am in the reload minigame, I actually am, and this is where the skill in timing comes in. You may also notice that I am usually strafing left or moving forwards or backwards while I'm shooting. This is because I constantly have to be using my index finger to reload. I tried using a mouse button, but I just couldn't get the timing down. So if you come up with a better way of doing this, please let us know in the comments. You can reload right on the edge of the white section as well, so if you get really good at the timing, you can fire incredibly fast. Be careful, however, this technique is a double-edged sword. If you get too hasty, lose your rhythm and keep missing the reload, instead of almost doubling your DPS from the base fire rate, you're going to be halving it, in which case you will get overwhelmed, especially in the higher tier dungeons. This is another reason that I hope Airship doesn't remove this and just embraces the different quirky mechanics that are coming out of testing. As I probably wouldn't use the shotgun with its normal fire rate, it just doesn't cut it when you're facing hordes of enemies. Also, with the fact of it being such a high risk technique, it's basically a death sentence if you're not paying attention and you mess up the rhythm. Really, if you're not on point with it, you're doing yourself more harm than good and you'd be better off not using it at all. One thing I would love for the devs to add would be the ability to shoot guns while jumping. Also, it would be nice to have some kind of fade option for the reticule, so it only appears if I shoot or aim down sights and then slowly fades after a time out of combat. This way it wouldn't get in the way of me enjoying the beautiful vistas or the sight of Wingrave doing the Grandpa dance. I actually learned while editing this video that you can hold down the left mouse button to shoot. Who knew? With this you can get 3 fast shots out of the shotgun after a reload. However, you can't dodge while holding the left mouse button, which seriously limits your mobility. The rapid fire technique is still faster, especially if you get really good at the timing. Plus, you can move around as much as you like. I hope you found this video helpful. Don't forget to subscribe for more Wayfinder content. And if you like my videos, check out some of my other channels. They're all listed in the description and at the top of the dev.arcade homepage. See ya!